Thanks for taking the time to join me on my channel, Nigel's View on Things. How you doing? How you keeping? Hope everybody's safe and sound where you are. If you've been sitting up paying attention to the news, looking around for the last 2 or 3 months, I think you can agree with me what we are looking at is we're living in crazy times. Very crazy stories and videos and pictures coming out. In the last video, we were looking at 2 planets in Dubai. That video went absolutely viral. Not my video, the video of those objects in the sky from Dubai. Millions upon millions upon millions of people actually got to see that. If you actually ask somebody about that exact thing, they know exactly what you're talking about. Whether you think it's fake or it's real, it makes no difference. Now those people have seen it, they can't unsee it. They have been programmed. So when people see pictures like this, they're going to think it's either fake, a publicity stunt, or they're going to sit up and pay attention to the fact that there is an object in the sky. And a lot more people are starting to wake up to the realization that there is something majorly wrong. They're becoming self-aware that things are not exactly as we're being told. When we start looking up at the skies and seeing lines appear from behind aircraft, and then slowly our skies get decimated.
Hey guys, it's July 24th. It's about 12 o'clock noon and they are blowing it up.
And a very, very good morning to you. Look at Charlie Boy in the air, having a good old spray. Hey, what you trying to hide there in the sky, Sonny Jim? Yeah, everything is absolutely normal. Look at our sky. It looks like, yeah, very, very healthy. We got to breathe that stuff in, haven't we? Where you going? What you doing? I'm sure that's costing us absolute thousands for you to spray that poison in the sky. Oh, of course, it's just a contrail, just vapour out of the engines. I'm sure it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Wonderful. And that just stretches for miles and miles and miles. And the only reason for that is because the pilot's having a barbecue and he's set light to the plane. There is nothing else that it could possibly be. They couldn't be Geo Engineering our skies, could they? Oh, it's just water vapour, Nige. Another thing that people were talking about and beginning to notice is how volatile the weather has been over the past 3-4 years. The only way to describe what's happening around the world is become insane. There is something making that happen. Are the plane things and the weather hand in hand? Well, that's for a different video. I think you already know the answer to that. Any rate, I'm rambling. Let's have a look at this. February the 18th can be seen in Japan. This came up on my Twitter feed and I need to diagnose it. So let's have a closer look and let me explain what I think is going on here. Let's run over the key points of this picture. We know it was taken in Japan and it looks like it's possibly a sunrise or a sunset, judging by the way the clouds lie, as it be. The lovely clouds, yes, they're lovely, aren't they? Yes, our weathermen told us all about these clouds. They're made by planes, they're lovely. Anyway, we don't know whether it's sunset or sunrise, so it's either easterly or westerly direction. It makes no difference. We're looking at an object that's here. It's black and it's round. This is most probably a cloud that's going to be classified very, very shortly called football cumulus or something to that sort of description. As I said, this picture was taken in Japan. Its population is approximately 130 million people. The size of the country, approximately 157 million square miles. So it's a big place with a lot of people. So why did more people not to get to see this when it was visible in the sky? And we know that because somebody took a photograph of this object. But there's an effect that's going on which isn't plainly obvious. And for you to understand, I need to show you something before we get a little bit further into this picture. In our skies, we've got a very complex system of lenses that is able to hide things. They can move them around and they can position them with technologies that's so far advanced, it's so exotic, and it's been replicated from a different source. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, the Pentagon come out and actually stated that they've got technology that is not of this earth. Well, you may argue where that may come from, but still, that technology has been reverse engineered and used for quite some time. If we look back about 90 years, how technology has progressed in such a rapid rate, things have got smaller. When I was younger, everything was big. One little computer would take up a whole room. But now you can get that computer and put that as that computer on your wrist. Technology has advanced in such a rate, how it's shrunk, and also there is things there that don't really make any sense. I mean, when I was a child, the nearest thing I had to a mobile phone was 2 tin cans and a bit of string. But now that technology that I was watching on science fiction programs that were a thing of, science fiction, which have now become science fact, and really what you could say is what we're looking at is progress. But there are leaps in technology through the ages that don't really make any sense. But I'm sure that's for another video. Anyway, I'm just rambling. Let's get back on with the video. So there's a complex system of lenses in the sky. I've shown this so many different times. Jeff P's done an amazing job talking about and showing the lens system in the sky. And also, Rise Up with Risey, he's very good at showing the eclipses and all the other bits and pieces, and very, very passionate about his work as well. Many great channels out there showing exactly the same thing. How do we know that there's actually lenses in the sky? And by the way, links to everything that I'm talking about in the description box down below. Nice and simple for everybody to find. There is one common theme. If we actually got to see one of these only on one camera, then we could argue the fact that maybe it's just a water droplet or whatever it might be, but we get to see this effect again and again and again and again. We can see that it looks like there's a stripy planet, but this is not a stripy planet. This is the prism effect that we get from the light rays going through the lens system. You can see one there, and okay, let's have a look at the next picture. And like I say, here's the lens system that's in play. You can clearly see it, and look at this lens flare. Don't forget what a lens flare is. It's a projection of a light source. So I'm saying this is a lens flare, and it's a projection of what we're looking at behind our sun simulator. Let's have a look at the next picture. We can clearly see the lens system that's in play just here, and we also get this double line around the outside. We don't always get to see it, but it's nice when we do, because we can tell that these are lenses. And there's another one there.
This is the first device that we know of that can do three-dimensional, continuous, multi-directional cloaking.
It's really undeniable. But you're going to say, oh, it's a water droplet. Yes. No. At any rate, that is an effect that's going on in our sky. And you can't actually get to see that unless you've got a digital camera or video recorder of some type or description. It's got to be digital, not using 35mm photography, because a 35mm camera works in a different way to a digital camera. A digital camera has a CMOS sensor, and basically a 35mm camera works on light. And that's why we get to see images like we're getting to see the red spinning planet, because that is projected through a lens system, and we can't actually see that with our naked eye. You need the aid of a digital camera. But what I'm expecting is somebody in the comments to say what we're looking at here is our sun, and that seems to be spinning a lot faster than that big LED light in the sky is. And next you're going to be telling me that that object is our sun, that big yellow gas giant. Well, I'll tell you what, I've got some powdered water for sale. I've got gallons of the stuff. It comes free with a sachet of condensation. Please apply down below. So stopping it here just quickly to have a look, there's another effect that occurs because you've got a lens system in the sky, and yet again this is not visible to the naked eye, only with a camera of a digital sort. Around the outside you've got this rainbow effect. You can see that there happens to be sort of like two lines. We're looking at a Fresnel lens system in the sky being projected backwards onto the lens of the camera. How else would you get this effect? Oh, it's a big jumbo jet flying towards you with those landing lights on. That's exactly what it is. It looks like a car headlight, or maybe it's a table bulb with a shade on. You can see that we're looking through something that really we shouldn't be seeing on camera. Around the inside we've got this donut effect, and we've seen this many, many times. Different colour sky to what it is here. Something's being reflected backwards onto this lens, and it's being reflected backwards onto the lens of the camera. Looking at this, does it not actually remind you of something that you may have seen looking up at the sky in pictures or videos? For all those people that don't get what I'm trying to say, let me explain myself. This is a lens system. This is our car headlight sun. And if this had matched up with this, the focal points, we can see the focal point that's just there. So it would be there, and that is the focal point of that object just there. It would be plainly obvious to what we're looking at. A new effect happened about 9 or 10 years ago. People were looking up without the aid of a camera and seeing something very, very new. Very quickly, our scientists told us what we're looking at is a new phenomenon. That was easy for me to say.
If you missed the top of the newscast, Scott showed us a really kind of cool weather photo for today.
Yeah, it's cool. You don't want to look directly at the sun, as I found out today when my wife hit a tennis shot straight up and blinded me.
Yes.
And she won the point.
And she won the point, but if you...
That was planned.
That's right, she knew what she was doing. Because it's pretty interesting what the sun can do, isn't it?
It really can, and there's a lot going on in the sky. A lot of folks just don't look up to check it on out, but going to meteorology school, we had to do that. I had a class where I had to look up at the sky all the time and talk about ice crystals and the different things that form in the sky. Well, this was a shot that was sent in to us, and it's a great shot here, sent in by Brian Rowland. Here you see the sun in the middle, and you see this circle. Now, many times we've seen a circle around the sun. That's the what we call the halo, a 22-degree halo, the angle from us to the sun, from the sun out to us to out here. That's 22-degree angle. There's also a 46-degree angle, a halo that can form as well. These are called sundogs, or perihelia, or sometimes called mock suns. So they get really bright sometimes, and people say, how come there's two suns in the sky? So that's why they call them mock suns. But what's interesting about this, those are fairly common optical phenomena, is this right here. This is called an upper tangent arc. And I can tell by looking at this photo, the sun's a little higher in the sky, of course, with the trees here. If it was down near down closer to the horizon here, this arc would be much more sharp right here, but as the sun goes up, this flattens out and lengthens like this, and it all has to do with the way that the sun is shining through ice crystals. These are hexagonal crystals. There's all kinds of things that can be in the sky. In fact, this photograph is pretty amazing. Here's one that was taken, and Noah put this one in and describes all of the different things that are going on. Here's the sun rising. Here's that tangent arc we were talking about, the upper tangent arc. You see it's a little sharper here because the sun is just coming up. So this is the upper tangent arc. Everything listed in red is rather rare. Everything we just saw in that last picture is not as rare, but there's all kinds of arcs. There's one right in here. You've got the superlateral arc, the Sundex Peri arc, which is right in here. All these different things that can occur, and it's all having to do with the way and the angle that the sun is shining through those hexagonal ice crystals, or the little columns that we call them there. And I don't think I can show you. Actually, we'll show it right in here. This is what the ice crystals look like. So if the sun shines through the end, we get this upper tangent arc right here. If it shines differently through it, we get all kinds of other arcs that we were looking at right here. So guys, there's lots of things that can happen in the sky. This picture is amazing, but the one we had sent in, the upper tangent arc, you don't normally see it.
That's cool.
That is cool. You know, I have that image burned on my retina, too, from earlier today.
Of course it is. Ice crystals. Rainbow effect around the outside. Inner line, outer line. And that's being projected backwards onto the particulates that are in the sky. Those lovely geo-engineered clouds, lovely clouds. It does look very, very local. Look how it's lit up. When all the conditions are met, we get to see a sun halo in the sky. We've got lenses that track with our sun and with our moon. Something they don't want us to actually see, but unfortunately, once you've seen it, you're never going to forget it. Of course, what they say is,
ice crystals are rather rare.
complex at times. Many people might say what you're looking at is a reflection of the dome. But yet again, as with the ice crystals and the reflection of the dome, there are no pictures before 10 years ago. It's a very, very new event. If that was so, we would have seen it through history. There would be many, many pictures, and there is not. Before we go any further, if you've made it this far, really appreciated for taking the time to watch my video, and also if you're subscribed, thank you so much. If you're not, please think about hitting that subscribe button, dinging that bell and getting those notifications, especially if you like the content that I'm showing. And yet again, I would like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to be here and watch my videos. I'm glad my words don't fall on deaf ears. It's getting to the point that I'm starting to argue with myself and lose those arguments. I think I'm absolutely going mad, especially what's going on in the world at this particular moment in time. Hopefully now I've explained what is going on in our skies, and something should be plainly obvious. I'm just saying, just here, let me show you what I mean. So looking at this picture now, hopefully you can see the similarities to what you've just been looking at, and we can see the donut effect just there. Two different colour skies, totally 100%, and it's around there. So what we're looking at is a lens system in the sky. This picture does actually have a twist to it, and I'll explain in 1 second. So what we're looking at, like I said, is a lens system. We can see the focal point is about there, or roughly. So if I actually run this picture through a couple of filters, you can actually see that a little bit more clearly, that donut effect. Would the observer himself been able to see this donut effect? I don't believe so. This is a trait of the camera. But he definitely saw this because he took a photo of this. But because this is a lens system per se, this object is not there. That's the twist. It's being projected through the lens and visible through the lens. It is a shadow of something back there. So really, it's there in the sky, but it's further back. So what's the reason that more people didn't see this in the sky? Well, there's a number of factors, I think. And for me, it sort of like makes sense. We've got an object that's there, and it depends how fast that object is moving. Don't forget, it's not there, it's back there. So it also depends where the sun or the light is from. And also, if you happen to be in the direction of this donut effect, you would get to see it. So it would be very, very limited in area. This object would have most probably been only visible for a very short amount of time for a very limited amount of people. Right time, right place, you look up and take a photograph, you get to see things that you really shouldn't. And this is one of these things that you don't need a camera for. It was definitely visible in the sky, but really only as a shadow of the object that is back there. So it's basically a mirage, if you like. And don't forget, the object that we're actually looking at is a very, very long way off in the distance. And when I say a long way off, it's being projected through a number of lenses, so we actually get to see it like a great big telescope in the sky. The effects we would feel, and we are starting to feel those effects if it was close. The earthquakes, the volcanoes, the weather, they all go hand in hand, telling us that there is something coming. But to show you the lens system actually in play, the Action Lab done a very good science experiment, and I'm going to show you this now. I'll leave the links to his channel in the description box down below. Please go over, say hello if you like his work, please subscribe. He does some great science experiments.
In order to get this to work, you can't just use one lens, but you have to use 4 lenses. And you just set them up according to this equation and their focal points. So this focal point is our invisibility point. But then as you keep going, in order for the background to not look distorted, you have to recorrect the light that you made diverge right there. But the problem is that the image is now flipped 180 degrees. Okay, so watch as I dangle something in front of the lens, how it just disappears.
For me, that's how the lens system works. There's 4 in the sky and it hides things. Now, if they don't all marry up and say there's 3, we get to see things that we really shouldn't do, because what actually happens, the lens system acts like a great big telescope, a magnifying glass, and it gets projected, that image, into our atmosphere, onto the particulates and maybe those lovely man-made clouds. So, when we're looking at the red spinning planet, something that we can't see but can be seen with the aid of a camera, that's being projected backwards onto the lens of the camera, the 5th lens. Somebody designed a system to hide things in the sky, and I believe they knew exactly what they were doing. They made that crucial error to show the world what is coming.
So how can we tell that they're using the lens system? By this picture here. The 4th of March 2017, Soldonia South East FAA Advisory Weather Cam. This is for the pilots, by the way. Yeah, like I said, the pictures are every 10 minutes approximately. So it's not a continuous thing that we can see. And the only reason we can see this is because the camera is just receptive enough to pick what we're looking at up. This isn't our moon, this is the backwards lit planet, and we've got this red object here. These are projections. A projected image. Basically like a lens flare, but these are projected through a number of lenses that were in the sky. Hence why this is a backwards lit planet. You can see where our sun and sun simulator are. They're this direction. So, being truthful, we shouldn't get a backwards lit planet. This is just an impossibility. And if we cycle through the pictures, you can see that this object here and this object here moves not like a lens flare, in a totally different sort of manner. Big red object in the sky. Yep, I keep on telling everybody, every day, every night, it's red. Moon rises, the moon sets, it's red. If we throw a little bit of colour on it, it makes it a little bit more outstanding. Bit of contrast, and you can see that this is something that shouldn't even be on camera. And like I said, projected through a lens system.
What we've tried to develop is a simplified version of a perfect cloaking device for small angles. And what we've done is we've simplified it to a 4-lens system. And as you can see, all we've used are off-the-shelf optics that we can get from any of the optical stores. And the great thing about this is it can be scalable to any size that you can make the lenses. But the most important thing that we've done so far is this is the first device that we know of that can do 3-dimensional, continuous, multi-directional cloaking. So if you have rays that go at different angles, you can have the cloaking device still cloak it while what you see in the background is shifted accordingly without any distortion or changes.
Those are my views, and take them or leave them. I've tried to explain it in logical terms that I understand, and it seems to all go together and make sense for me. I don't know about you, but there is something out there. There is something coming towards us. We don't need pictures to actually be logical and explain what's going on. Put all those little pieces together, and it tells you that there is something, well, happening. At any rate, don't be scared. Just be prepared. Get yourself ready for that rainy day, because tomorrow, it's just another day. So enjoy life and live life, and even more importantly, love life. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time, as I said before, to watch my videos. It's really appreciated. And everybody out there that's making videos and showing the strangeness in our sky, and there are some very strange videos and pictures running about. But before we go, I need to show you the red spinning planet just one more time. 18 seconds, I'm going to throw a filter on it, and maybe you can see what is going on. It's a lot more obvious. At any rate, that's all I've got for you now. Much love, much peace, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.